welcome to another episode of Anything and Everything with Donna Lisa. I'm your host, Donna Lisa, and today's special guest is Thomas Oliver. He is actually the owner of Waikomo Shave Ice here in Las Vegas. Hi, Thomas. How are you? Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Donna. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here. I know how busy you are. I know you have a lot going on right now. Before we kind of get into all of what's going on right now with your business, just wanted to give a quick background on you and your business and how you got started. So Thomas is actually new to Las Vegas about a year now, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Came up
originally
here
from
in July.
Kauai. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So Thomas started his company in July of 2020 in the middle of COVID. This started off in Hawaii, on the island of Kauai, and he just decided to, with everything going on with COVID and being shut down, decided to uproot and come out to Las Vegas when we were still shut down too at the time, and start his shave ice company here. So tell me a little bit about how, actually I do want to know a little bit more about your background. What made you decide to come up with the concept of Waikomo Shave Ice, and why you decided to bring it out here to Las Vegas?
Okay, cool. So basically the concept of the business, a shave ice business, is something that totally just organically came about. It kind of goes back to 2014 where it was kind of a real transitional point of my life where I knew I needed change in my life, and it's kind of hard to tell the story without kind of giving the sequences of that occurred that I know are part of where I am today. If it wasn't for these certain things, there wouldn't be this little business that I've started. So it was kind of back in, the short, it could be a much longer interview if I went into all the details. But basically, 2014, I ended up breaking my leg. About a year previously, I left my family pool business. My parents owned a swimming pool business that I worked for. Between the pool business and the restaurant industry, I was doing that since just out of high school, So 2013, I left the family business. It was really clear that it just was not something I saw myself doing for forever. It was kind of there was kind of the idea, you have a family business. It was a great business. My dad started it from nothing. It was like the first pool business on the island of Kauai. So it was like a real beautiful opportunity if that was something I saw that I wanted to do. But after, so many years being involved with it, I just saw it and felt that it was not something I wanted to continue to do forever. Okay. And invest much more time. So I ended up leaving the business, and then there was, that was kind of a big thing to step away from a family business for myself. It was, because I didn't go to college, just that's the way it went. I kind of actually struggled in high school and all through school. Schooling was not my strong point. Books, I wasn't a book smart kind of talented guy. Right. So college was just not something I at all wanted to get involved with and pursue. So, I had the family business, and then before that, I just jumped into the restaurant industry, which is, bussing tables, and that was, it was cool. But then the family business came about, and I did that for about 7 years. And then, like I said, around 2013, stepped away from that, which was a big thing. And then at the time I was also in a relationship, and a pretty serious relationship. And it was kind of at this point, it was like, I really was sensing I was needing change in my life, because I was dealing and feeling that I was kind of personally lost with just my internal feelings of myself, not really feeling really great with myself, kind of more of like struggling with just being happy, I guess you could say, the easiest way to say it. So the next thing after leaving the family business was getting out of this relationship that I was in that was quite serious. So
How
um
long, if you don't mind me asking, how long was that relationship?
we were together like 5 years.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
So it was
and
a while.
we were living together, and yeah, there was kind of the idea of, it was a long-term thing, that
Right.
she was wonderful. Nothing against her, but it was just me knowing internally I just needed to do a lot of figuring out and
Okay.
understanding of myself. So fast forward to 2014, I'm not exactly clear on the date, but I have horses. I have two horses, and I had this second young horse, and I was working with them, training them, and I was riding him one day, really early on in the phase of like training. And
Mm-hmm.
this one afternoon, he bucked me off, and I ended up falling. And right when I hit the ground, his hoof clipped my leg,
Oh,
and
wow.
I instantly knew the pain, and I've never felt such a pain. So I knew that there was something wrong, and sure enough, it ended up breaking. So okay, that there was that incident. My mom and brother were not too far away, and I had my phone on me, luckily, so they came, swooped me up, and I remember that day even going to the hospital. I was kind of like, perfect. This is an opportunity, or it was like it was going to be vacation time. I'm going to get to just kick back, and
Yeah, time off.
time off. And even though I was pretty cruising before that, I was like, it was just like this idea, like, yeah, I'm gonna just Netflix and just be lazy and heal up my leg. And um, another aspect that I don't mind sharing at all, but because it's just the reality. But from pretty much right out of high school, lifestyle, um, you know, nothing crazy, but the lifestyle of like drinking beers with the boys after surfing, and then like smoking marijuana was something that I started doing at a pretty young age. And so come time for this broken leg and this month, or this time that I'm going to be down, it was like, yeah, I'm going to have a vacation time. And in my mind, I literally said, in my head, I was like, Netflix, and I'm going to
Drink
roll
beer.
joints. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah, and just cruise. So so fast forward a month into that, I hit this real low in my that I've never experienced, this like extreme lostness, extreme insecure
Hmm.
self that was just really, really living in my
So,
mind, I guess you could
and
say.
I don't want to cut you off, but I do want to ask, because you just had an injury, were you also on pain medication? Because I think sometimes that also.
At the time, with the
Yeah.
leg, no, I
Oh, okay.
yeah, pills were never really a thing that
Okay.
got a hold of me, which I'm really grateful for, because
Good
we
for
all,
you.
a lot of,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so a month into it, I just was
Hmm.
just beyond lost. And
Okay.
I remember just having this real clear thing, and don't, and I should warn you, but when I relive and think about this, and
Hmm.
there's a lot of emotions that are easily triggered, but it's
Right.
joyous thinking of everything, and to see where I was to now. It's just something
Yeah.
that I don't mind sharing. And that's why, actually, partially why I like the idea of being able to share my story, because it's truly something that my understanding is I kind of got out of the way of trying to figure things out. So
Okay.
going back to this day where it was after a month, I remember it was very clear that I had this day where I was just extremely, like, I like to use the word creepy. I was like calling. Yeah, I was just, my mental state was just really all over the place. And not to go super in depth, but I had a friend who was working close by to where I was living with my mom. And this guy ended up seeing me this day. I was hobbling around on my broken leg
Hmm.
outside. I don't know really what I was doing outside, but maybe I heard him, and I ended up talking with him. And long story short, I was mentioning just how really lost I was. And also at the same time, I was talking to another friend who actually happened to be in rehab, um, due to his personal journeys, and he was in rehab, and we were talking, and I think I expressed, just my lostness and really struggle of just like kind of finding what's really going on with me. And he also was, like I said, he was in rehab, and the advice that they were giving him was obviously, you know, go to rehab, is sobriety is
Right.
something that comes along with like a rehab. And like I said, I wasn't ever this raging, fifth of vodka kind of guy. It was just, beers after, but smoking was kind of like a daily thing. The smoking was something that I did daily. And even though it was the smoking thing, he was in rehab, and he just suggested getting the big book, reading the big book, which I didn't even know what that was. And then I think he might have mentioned it's the Alcoholic Anonymous, and I wasn't opposed to it, but I wasn't like, yeah, I'm gonna go get that. And going back to this afternoon, where I was sitting with my friend in the yard, and I mentioned, I don't know what to do. I'm just tripping. I'm lost. But my friend mentioned I should maybe check out this big book, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I know all about it." And it's the AA program, and that's what I'm actually involved with. He was like 16 years
Wow.
in with his journey and his sobriety. And um, was kind of, I was at that point. I should fast forward it because it's something that was very clear. And before I was talking with him, it was just this moment where and this is where I always feel the feelings, but I just knew that I would give anything just to be at peace and happy. And I didn't really, up until this point, I never knew how to do that. Right.
Right.
So when all of a sudden I was there with this new idea of like, the big book, this journey of maybe not using smoking and drinking, wonder what that would be like. Because up until this point, I was 28 years old. I didn't really know what that was like, or I'd ever attempted it, right? You don't think there's a problem, it's just a lifestyle, right?
Right.
Everybody's doing it. It's not like I was doing these blackouts. It's you go through life, you maintaining, but how is your overall feeling? And I always knew I was just lost in a way, but it makes sense because I was clearly always clouded, never really sensing the internal. And the internal was always there. But if you live a life where you're daily under the influence, starting your days maybe this way and then ending it, I get it. So there is really close to my house, there's this morning meeting that started at, I think it was December. That's exactly what it was. It was December 2014, where it was still early in the morning. It was dark. So the meeting was 5 minutes from my house, at this beach park, which is gorgeous, Poipu Beach Park. And there's these meetings that my friend said, go check it out. And from that day, 2014 in December, where I ended up going 3 years not drinking.
Wow.
And about 2.5 years not smoking. So, that's a big chunk of time to have been like the pages turned, So from that day, it was I instantly felt this new chapter changing, and just this new joyous feeling of like a new way to live, a new
Right.
surrendering. Yeah, and I relive it, and I just think about everything was different. Like my mornings were, instead of going to escape or cloud the head, it was like I was going, and these meetings were amazing. There were a lot of visitors coming, just sharing their experiences, but it was always a really uplifting. And I'm on the verge of like these tears, but
Oh
it's
no, and you know what? I mean, I like that. It's a very inspiring story to know. I
yeah,
didn't even know this about you until
no
opened
one
up.
really
Right.
would. Yeah. And that's what I'm there's no shame in it at all.
Right.
It's my story, and it's the life everybody has to live to figure out. But what the biggest thing I want to share is like that, from that next day of surrendering and kind of going, this feels so good to be clear-headed. The amount of joy started to grow was just unbelievable.
So
I'm gonna
were
edit
you
this out.
No, I mean, I
Go
like
ahead.
that you're sharing this, but I do. So it was about 3 years you were sober, you
Yeah,
said, right?
yeah. I went like
Okay.
six months every day to these
Okay.
meetings.
Wow.
Um, and I knew I just started to sense myself. I just wanted to just simplify. I wanted to just sit. I wanted, you know, I was, um, my leg was still healing. And I was just on this new page. I picked up photography. I kind of was already doing some photography. So I would
Oh,
just go and
nice.
do some photography, shoot photos of my horses, sunsets, whatever. And life was just totally different. I was able to just be with myself and be
Hmm.
comfortable, and spent a lot of time with my mom. And um,
Did you at
about
any point go back to the family business at that time that you took of your sobriety?
no, I
Okay.
pretty much knew this new chapter was that was behind me. And
Got it.
yeah, even though yeah maybe clarity would give like, oh,
Hmm.
family stuff, it never came in. It was more of like
Okay.
what's I was more excited about what's today going to bring, what kind of
Yeah.
um new thing. And a big one I should just put in there, about 6 months after breaking my leg. Yeah, there's so much to this little story of mine, but basically there was this gentleman that I came across about with the horses. And um 6 months after breaking my leg, I went to Europe and I did this
Oh.
European trip where I went to Denmark for a month and studied under this gentleman, this German man, who worked with horses. And I had really no idea what I was really getting myself into, other than he worked with horses. I
Hmm.
had a real love for horses, but I didn't know really what I was going um, for, other than I just had this internal complete calling going, that's what you're doing, right? It was the first thing after the broken leg, this new chapter in my life where internally we know everything, or we feel what
Hmm.
is, we should go or not go or whatever. This one was like every inch of me was going, you're going there. It was a lot of money. It was, but I figured whatever it's gonna take, I'm gonna go. I'll take out a loan, and I'm just gonna make this happen. So I did that. I did that for a month, which was incredible. And not to leave it out, to fill you in on that month where I said I didn't know what I was getting myself into, other than gonna maybe see how this guy works with horses. It turned out to be like 5% horses and 95% personal
Wow.
stuff. Yeah, it's just crazy. And um, and it was just a lot of things that I forgot about came up in this thing. And that's where I'm forever grateful for everything that happened in life, that it, for me at least, it was stop trying to figure out what I should be doing, other instead of doing anything that I felt would just support my overall happiness. Um, which was, for whatever reason, Europe was like, you're going there.
Right.
And there was a lot of big personal work that came up, the way I, you know, viewed myself. And yeah, that was a really big part of it. And then what I felt is a lot of stuff dies, right? When you
Hmm.
realize it's just this false, it's an illusion, but somehow we hang on to it, and something we think is real. But you know so that was amazing, 1 month. And then I ended up continuing through Europe on trains and buses for
Wow.
2 months by myself. And it was
And
and that is
you had no friends there. Just you were
no,
just roaming. Okay.
yeah, sober,
Wow.
not just so in the moment. And forever going to be one of the most amazing times of my life, right? To have had that. And I'd be in one country one day, and I'd leave in the evening and travel by night and be in another.
Hmm.
It's to this day, it's something I dream about doing again, because it was just so much fun. Met so many amazing people, great food, and just just to feel, I basically felt at home in
Hmm.
a in this in Europe, which is crazy, because it's way before this broken leg and time. I was one that would get so incredibly homesick, you know. Um, so that was just for me very clear that there was a big shift that happened.
Right.
You know, I was 2 months alone in hostels, or you know, I remember once I got stranded, the bus left, and I, you know, had to wing it in the cold, but I was at peace. I was like, you know,
Wow.
this is perfect. Everything's gonna be okay, and it always was. So that was a really big that 3 months was just huge, you know. And then I came home after that, just buzzing from that experience. And then I knew that also after that I wanted to um, continue just living really simplified, right?
Okay.
Like just not dive into something that just to start making money, even though yeah, I was definitely in debt a bit, and um, but I figured I could just do a little bit and pay a low expense rent and just continue sensing what I needed, what the next move was, which was continue to just cruise, you know,
Hmm.
go surf and just enjoy life and don't overwhelm myself, I guess, basically. Um, so that's what I did for about 2 years. And so it was 2016 that rolled around,
Okay.
14, 15. So it's 2016 came around, and um, but to that point, I was just really low key cruising, surfing, diving, enjoying life. And 2016 came around, and it was like literally the first. This this the most clear as day message in myself was going, you're going to start working. You know, you're going to get a job. You're going to start like um, using this clarity and all the strengths that I have and capabilities of just what I sensed in me. We're going to put it towards something. So um, I thought at the time I was like, you know, I'd love to go back to the Hyatt, which is the Grand Hyatt Kauai, is somewhere I worked
Okay.
previous years. I'm like, I want to be a food runner there. You know, I know that was a position that I would really love. Like, right, like you get not looking for the easy job, but right, like I didn't
Something
want
to
to
make
just
money, but you're
something to
still,
make some
yeah.
money, but you know, it's in the evening, and sure
Right.
enough, I landed exactly what I wanted. I slipped right
Nice.
back, yeah, at the and I was so happy. And I remember another point that I really remember um, of just being aware of like myself was like literally skipping with happiness, going to work, walking in, going under. You know, we have the tunnel that goes under
Hmm.
the loading where you check in and everything. And I remember this one day, just to this day, I really remember just going like, wow, this is you're going to work, and there was so much joy, and I already felt it didn't matter what I was doing. I
Hmm.
was I was really really stoked, you know. So um I was doing that for like 2 or 3 months, no more than that. And there was a day where again I had this epiphany that, well, I have all my days, I'm surfing, but why don't I use my time and do something during the day?
Hmm.
Um, and so I was like, okay, what could I do? And I thought, you know, it always sounded fun is would be fun to sell coconuts on the side of the road. You know, there's a lot called Kauai is this
Yeah.
crazy tourist hub. So I was like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna buy climbing gear. I'm gonna climb trees. I'm gonna chop them down. I'm gonna do it all myself. I'm gonna have someone build me a spike to husk them. I'm gonna just get involved. You know, I'm just gonna use my time these days and be as productive as I can. And I knew this one location was great where it comes into the south side of Kauai. There's a town called Koloa town
Hmm.
from like if you're driving from the airport. Koloa is the first town you get like in on the south shore, and then it goes from Koloa into Poipu, which is like the coastal area. So I was like, Koloa town, everybody's gonna drive by this one beautiful park. Um, I'm gonna go talk to the owner. I'm gonna see if that's cool with him. If I can just post up under a little tent with
Right.
my cooler, little sign, cold coconuts. In my head, I'm like, wow, this is gonna be amazing. Like, I'm gonna kill it, right? So my first day, the owner said, yeah, go for it, no problem. first day, I think I sold like 3 coconuts. Like, okay. That wasn't amazing, but it's first day. And then the second day, maybe sold another 2 or 3 coconuts. And I was like, okay, still whatever. I was going to work in the evening. And at the end of the day, um, this lady, Jolene Grace, who happened to be in a food truck. Sorry.
No,
Oh
you're
man,
fine.
when I relive it, it's like a dream, and that's where like it truly is, because I was just at this point operating on just what felt right to do. And
You just had an idea and you went with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
so the coconuts led me to this property, which led me next to this lady, Auntie Jolene, in the food truck. Right, I was actually right up against where she was at. She was in a
Okay.
truck and I was on the ground, and she's like, hey, you should go talk to the owner, because there's an empty food truck
Mm-hmm.
right next to us. And she's like, go talk to him. I'm sure it's just sitting. I'm sure he'd love to rent it to you if you wanted to do something. Um, and I got an old shave ice machine you can have. I know someone you can get syrups from. You
Wow.
can go from your little tent. And that was it. I gave it like a thought, like maybe one day. And the next day I'm like, yeah, why not? Let me at least just go try ask him. And
Mm-hmm.
he was super cool. He said, yeah, go for it. Try it out for a month. Don't and then if it's something that works out, we can figure out like a rent. And it took off.
Really?
Uh, it well, yeah. I mean, she gave me the machine. This was before I really like opened up or anything. And I remember plugging it in. I got some ice that this guy was selling blocks of ice. This was one
Mm-hmm.
company, and I remember I put the block of ice in, and I put down the teeth that spin
Right.
it, and the motor just smoked like crazy.
Oh.
Like the machine was like shot. But I was so excited already because I saw it. I think I may have gotten syrups already from this guy, and then I had the blocks of ice. I was like, okay, I need to get a machine, and actually, this is
Mm-hmm.
something I can do. I can shave ice, and I got all these coconuts. I think I picked like a couple hundred coconuts, and I had a big surplus of them, and I was like, oh, I can make smoothies as well. So uh, I was wearing the shirt earlier. So everything started to fall in place. The original name for the company was Loco Coco Shave Ice.
I think I
And
remember that name.
yeah, if you
Yeah.
Google it, photos will come up, and
Okay.
it's still there's a lot of so Loco Coco Shave Ice came into my head. That was just like whoop, you know. Um, and then also I was working at the Hyatt still, and they were serving the ceviche in a half coconut shell with the meat inside of it. So
Okay.
I was like, Loco Coco Shave Ice, I'm gonna do it, and then boom, there it was. I was like, I'm gonna serve the shave ice in the coconut shell.
So you had this idea where you thought it would be clever to serve the shave ice in a coconut bowl, right?
Yeah, I was working and I saw this. They were serving the ceviche in the coconut shell, and it was clear as day. Once I saw that, it was like, that's gonna be what I'm gonna do. That's gonna be my niche. I had this name that already jived with it. Local Coco Shave Ice.
Mm-hmm.
Already started to see and feel what was happening, which was this little birth of this business that you know um I had the night job. I knew my day could be use I could make use of my time, and sure enough, now I had this little truck, um outfitted. It had power. It had a freezer in it already. I got the new machine, and then the name came to me. I just started getting after it. I made a little custom wood sign, had a friend help me tape out Loco Coco, um, came up with a few smoothies that were, tasty, and just made it happen. And I was, I just was on one because I knew every day it got busier. Literally, I went from like $20 sale, like $20 to
Mm-hmm.
$30 to $60 to,
Wow.
um, yeah. And then I think it was like around spring break where in March where I had like a $500 day, and I was just blowing my
Wow.
mind, right? Yeah, I was just like, and then I ended up leaving the Hyatt
Okay.
because I now had this new little business venture that I felt really excited about, and kind of the rest is history. You know, there was a location change
Okay.
where I was operating for. I'm pretty bad on the past is kind of a blur. You know, this story I remember, but the time frame.
Hmm.
I think I was doing the in Koloa in that little truck for about 6 months,
Okay.
and then I ended up getting the opportunity to move down into Poipu, which was a more of a touristy, high traffic, and more close to where I grew up, and it was a no brainer when that opportunity came about. So, but with that new location came about needing to build a new trailer, much smaller, and another big factor that brought me to this natural product that I'm this natural shave ice that I'm doing is one day I was still in Koloa, and a visitor, you know, everyone was really nice, and I had a lot of time to talk to my customers because I wasn't that busy. But this lady was eating her shave ice, and she's like, you know, these food colorings in these shave ice are actually like can cause cancer, you know, and
The
that really
dyes.
like, yeah, the dyes that really like kind of was like, huh, I don't like that at all, you know. And
Right.
that was in my head for a few days, and then literally like within like in that week this new location kind of popped up, and as soon as this happened I was like, okay, I was like, well, I'm gonna build this really cool trailer, and I'm gonna figure out an all natural approach to shave ice. And there it was like I just that's where the shift came, because it went from
Okay.
this cool little food truck that was, you know, it was cool. And then I don't know if you've seen the trailer on Kauai. It was this really custom, beautiful little wooden trailer that we built, and, you know, Buddy built. And then I just figured out an approach with the um, an all natural approach to doing shave ice. So
Nice.
that was something I'm grateful that the lady mentioned to me, because, you know, who knows? Who knows? Who cares about the past? But that's what happened, and I love it because I personally was never a big shave ice fan, due to most of them being the artificial. They're too sweet, and they're
Right.
just. I was making them like while I was working, and I literally 3 or 4 bites, and I was like, I'm done with this every time, you know. So yeah, I basically built a new trailer and worked on figuring out a natural approach within like a month. In 1 month, it was just
Okay.
from sun up to sundown for 1 month, and not much change. I'm still going from sun up to sundown, but no, it was just this new chapter. And then yeah, the rest is kind of history. The name change came where
Did you change the name when you got the new truck?
no, it was
Okay.
Loco Coco, and then something that happened was someone reached out to me and said, a friend said, "Oh, I know this guy. He's like the manager at the Padres, like the concession manager or something at the
Okay.
stadium," and kind of planted this idea of possibly doing this this shave ice like at a stadium. And my mind was like, wow, I like the idea of that, right? Like you could do
Hmm.
great. It'd be a lot of fun. Um, and then with talking and kind of looking into this online one day, I learned about franchising, and I was like, wow. And I listened to videos, and at a point, I was like, I'm gonna try to franchise this business. You know, up in from the beginning to this point, my Yelp started growing, and literally just seeing every visitor come and just take their first bite, and their just jaws would drop, and they're just like, oh my gosh, this has to be in my neighborhood or my city or
Right.
wherever. You know, it was to this day I've never had like a bad
A
review.
review.
Not a yeah review. I mean, I've had a few, you know, whatever reviews that people are not stoked, but very few. And then, but to my face, no one's been like, you know, everybody's like, whoa, this is really good. So
Hmm.
with that being said, I was like, yeah, I could, you know, I also did a little research of other companies that franchised, and they, like wildfire, they've done, and that's kind of the more old school, so I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And when I looked into franchising the business, Loco Coco Shave Ice was too close to other marks that were already existing,
Okay.
like other businesses that had Loco or Coco, so they make it tricky. So it was a no-brainer when I decided to go with Waikomo. And Waikomo happens to, I froze for a second. Are we there?
Yep. I hear you.
Yeah. So Waikomo is the stream that I basically grew up playing in, and it runs through like Koloa town and down into Poipu. And it runs right by that first location that I was in, and then the
Okay.
second location, you could throw a stone from my trailer to the river. So Waikomo stream, I was like, Waikomo Shave Ice sounds great. I like the way it was worded, and
Mm-hmm.
um, chose Waikomo.
Nice.
So everything was going really great. I was now operating. I had a team, basically running it. Um, and then I decided, 2019 or a little before, I decided to franchise it. And then
Okay.
I ended up finally selling my first franchise. Um, I'm giving you quite a bit of detail, but not, so went from 16 when it started,
Mm-hmm.
and then now I've sold my first franchise and everything's going great. And um, long story short, the builder, the guy came on board. He ended up coming out to Hawaii, to the island, Kauai. I ended up training him. And then the builder ended up we had a fallout with the builder, and he never
Okay.
delivered the trailer, and ended up losing the first franchise.
Got
It
it.
turned into kind of a nightmare, and I just took it as a big lesson learned, and
Mm-hmm.
made sure to take care of the franchisee who got involved with me. So that was kind of, lost that. And then COVID came around. And at this point, it went from like business was doing good, but now this trailer for the franchise was built. Um, there was a loan taken out for this trailer, but we
Mm-hmm.
had no trailer. We had no trailer. The guy who we had a falling out with had the trailer, and now COVID hit, and I was in just like this place going, wow, what happened, right? Business dropped off completely.
Because
I
tourism stopped, right? People weren't traveling. Right.
the the island went ghostly, like not
Okay.
a visitor on, and businesses were completely going out of business. And
Wow.
uh, I was grateful, I was able to hang in there, even though there was no business. I hung in there, and the trailer was still something that I was knowing I needed, because I ended up taking the responsibility of taking the loan that was
Mm-hmm.
paid to this gentleman for the trailer. So I knew there was this trailer, and um, around July of a little before July 2020, last
Mm-hmm.
year, my attorney was like, you should get this trailer before this turns into being a big flop, in the sense you might not get anything from this guy, and maybe not get the trailer and have debt for the trailer, and then a lawyer bill. And I was just like, yeah, let's do that. Let's at least get my hands on the trailer so you have some kind of asset. So I was talking to my cousin at the time, and he lives here in Las Vegas,
Okay.
and he mentioned to me, you know what? Bring that trailer to Las Vegas. It's 115 degrees or whatever. It's hot as can
Yeah.
be. I think it'd be a good call. And when he said that, I was like, no brainer.
Right.
I literally took a day, called a few friends. I mean, I had two friends that are living up here. I was like, you think I could, crash with you guys for a little bit? I'm gonna be maybe do something with my a Shave Ice trailer. And they're like, yeah, go for it. And the rest is history. I came up here, funny story that the trailer got trucked from Florida to Las Vegas,
Wow.
and it arrived on this rickety little trailer, and it just, there's so many little details that, just offloading it, I literally almost had a heart attack because, it was like teetering. I thought it was going to fall over.
Oh my
I've
gosh.
never really driven in the mainland, like on freeways. There was just a lot of things that I had to deal with.
So that
But yeah,
trailer, the trailer you're in now, that's the trailer that you took.
was my,
Okay.
exactly, that was supposed to be the first
For the
franchise. And
franchise, right.
yeah, so
Nice.
it worked out, and what another lesson and something that I would really like to share, which is like, at the time when this whole situation is going down, I was looking at it as like, this is the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. I
Hmm.
remember just going, how is this guy doing this? Does he not realize like he's totally messing with people's lives? These are kind of thoughts that I was having. But in the big picture, right? Everything happens for a reason.
Hmm.
It's about learning to just accept everything. Um, and look what it brought me. It brought me to Vegas, and it allowed me to continue to grow in the midst of a pandemic,
Right.
and now look what's happened. I feel I've done a great job out here. I've had this growing support. It's been amazing. The island of Kauai has picked up. My business there is doing good, and I couldn't be more grateful for everything. And looking at it all, just I'm further trying to just always understand and accept that everything is perfect and everything happens for a
Hmm.
reason, right? We hear it so much, but that's just all it is. If it happens, it's done. It's how are we going to deal with it? We're going to go
Right.
crazy. I'm not saying during that, I wish I could have been maybe handled a little different, because I mean, there were so many days I was just so, angry, and, but, you know, just a big learning lesson. And I'm extremely grateful to just, I'm extremely grateful for the guy now. I thank him, and that's
Hmm.
something I really do. And because it's where it's brought me now. And that's kind of where it's at. Here we are. It's
Right.
now a year later, July, and
And business is
it's
still
been a,
thriving for you, and you have other plans, right? With
yeah,
Waikomo Shave Ice. Okay.
yep. I,
So
uh, uh,
you and I were kind of talking offline. I guess you're going back to the islands.
that's the plan. Yeah. I'm
Okay.
shooting, no real, urgency to leave tomorrow, but like as soon as I feel comfortable to, get the team up to par
Right.
here and to hold it down. And then a location popped up on Kauai to
Okay.
open another location. So even that, it's kind of, I don't have this dialed in. So I'm gonna go and build a trailer,
Right.
um, find another team. I'll probably do what I've done everywhere, is it's just me, find someone, find a worker, find two workers, and just do it, and it's
So
exciting. I really,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I
no,
just
no,
wanted to
no
ask.
worries.
So before you leave here, how how many people do you? How many team members do you have here at this location?
Um, like two or three right now.
Okay. And they're
Yeah,
able to manage it without you being around.
yeah, they seem to be doing pretty
Okay.
good. Yeah,
Good. And then you
yep,
also have your other location currently in on Kauai. How many
yeah.
people do you have managing that?
I got like 5 or 6 people over there.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, my mom and my sister are definitely a big part of, overseeing just that certain things get done right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I have like a manager, this girl Lay, there's a whole, there's always a story to everything, but
Right.
she was an extreme blessing from the beginning, where just being led again, and there they are, the people, it's just crazy. So
Nice.
she's, I guess, my manager, and
Okay.
we're just, yeah,
And then you
nothing
have
but
now
love for
you
my
have
team.
like, yeah, this third location you're possibly that's exciting for you.
It is, yeah, it
Yeah.
really is.
So I love the
There you
fact
go.
that you have overcome so many obstacles because just listening to your story and Thank you so much for sharing that, because people don't
Yeah.
realize, part of the reason why I started this podcast is because I work in special events. I have my own design business on the side, but I meet so many
Nice.
people in our industry,
Hmm.
and no one ever really knows their story or how they got to where they got. I always like
Yeah.
to know my professional friends and close friends, just their background. And I was
Hmm.
finding out everyone who owns, a business in our industry has a story and how they got started. And
Yeah.
when I started this podcast, I actually started following you for a while. Was looking at your story, but I just launched this in January, actually like December 31st, the end of the year. But I was like, okay, before I start reaching out to people who are doing really well with their
Hmm.
business, I need to make sure I have enough content. So I did reach out to a lot of my close industry friends that I knew that would do the podcast. They helped me build this. And then I started reaching
Nice.
out and searching on Instagram, on social media, like who else could I bring on here? And I'll tell you, when I started following you, I mean, aside from the fact that my family, is from Hawaii too, and I live
Hmm.
there, and Kauai is my favorite island. I thought, you know what, this guy looks like he has a really interesting story. Because I know, you don't just show up in Las Vegas and have a shave ice truck. So I thought, okay, I've got to reach out to this guy after a couple months and see what his story is about. So your story is very interesting. I would have never thought, I would
Thank
have
you.
just expected that, maybe you worked at a hotel and you just wanted to branch off and start your own shave ice truck, but I never would have known, all the events leading
Yeah.
up to it. Um, you have a very
Yeah.
inspiring story. I think a lot of people can learn from it, and like anything else, you're very positive. I'm glad you got a lot of clarity. It's definitely hard. A lot of people, as much as they are enjoying their life now, sometimes
Uh-huh.
you never know, they're still not completely happy with themselves inside, and you
Yeah.
recognize that and made changes. And because of that, everything leading up to where you're at now, that you've been blessed with this amazing business, and it's still growing. And
Yeah.
you have amazing family and friends who support you with it. So knowing that your mom and your sister are helping too, so it kind of is a family business, right?
Yeah. Like if I didn't give them credit, I would be just that'd be
Hmm.
ridiculous. My mom is there's just a lot of the moral support that's huge, right?
Right.
Of course, like even like just paperwork, stuff like that I just
Hmm.
not my forte, right? So huge help, right? Filling out like tax stuff and helping me
Nice.
get whatever is needed. Forever grateful for the support they've shared with me. So yeah, for sure. Um,
Very cool. So now
yeah.
with all of your flavors, I mean, you're not a regular standard shave ice truck. Like I said, I've been following you for a while. I think your videos are really cool. I did notice you guys don't have like a set location. So every day you're posting a different location where you're at, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, coming up here was like, where I don't even know where I was going to start. This so
Hmm.
happens there was this food truck location on Rainbow and Durango that was like the spot, and um, I don't mind saying this now, but it was like COVID, like getting permits and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, when is this going to happen? So I kind of like a little like went in um, opened up, which was I needed because right it turns into survival mode, right? Bills and
Yeah.
um, but that was a blessing. I was there, everything went smooth for I was there for a good 2 months, and then that location got canceled. Basically, it got kind of just
Okay.
got too out of hand, too much people, traffic, and then just things pop up. There's this other location, like the Tractor Supply that I don't know if you heard about, like
Oh,
that
uh-huh.
wanted, yeah, that'll start allowing food trucks,
Hmm.
so it was kind of just going with what possibilities popped up, um, but now with the idea of moving back to Kauai, it's really nice. And I don't have the address. I'm not going to share it just because I don't really know the address off the
Right.
top of my head, but pretty central Las Vegas. I have a place where I'm going to be able to park the trailer, and it's not going to be going all around Las Vegas.
Wow.
So it'll be easy for people to find, to know where I'm at. And I'm really excited about that. That's just another, everything, literally every single thing that happens, and this is what I guess I want to share. It's like you, with a positive attitude and trusting and not getting carried away with the mind that wants to dwell
Right.
on the things that you really hope happen or they don't happen, of just accepting everything and then just envisioning what you want. Like that's crazy how much that's how it happens, you know. Like this location, there was a friend who had this warehouse, and he right when I was this opportunity to go back to Kauai, central Las Vegas, he's like, I'm like, you think I could park it there? You know, after talking to him, he's like, yeah, I see why not, you know. And just effortlessly the
Right.
things you'll get taken care of. And that's really the story of like my life up in from that new point of just, you know. And that's the big thing in life, right? Like what is life other, you know, if we're not at peace?
Right.
That's just a question that, you know, I would really, if there's any message here right there, is just that. What is living if we're not at peace, right?
Right.
Trying to just, we're not forced to do anything, you know. If we know we're not happy, listen to that. Really look at our lifestyle. It's, you know, and I have nothing against drinking, smoking, you know, with everything, moderation, like, hey, go get it. But it's like, if you know you're lost and that, or whatever, you can always change, you know, and there's always going to be help, you know, if you're wanting it. I don't know. It's just when you find the peace, the doors open.
Right.
You know, it's what happened and what I experienced, but it's something that I just truly believe in, that,
That's
you
great.
know, the universe wants to really take care of us, you know. And
So I
uh,
do ask, now that we're talking
I'm
about
super.
positive, thoughts and stuff. I always ask my guests this: is there a daily affirmation or a quote that you like to start your day off with? Is that something that is that typically what you tell yourself every day?
So not like a quote, but basically just gratitude, right? I'm here.
Hmm.
I have a cozy little bed. I have a house. You know, I have a business. I got a family. I think of, be grateful for all the things I have. That's where it's like
Yeah.
that's having these things. There's so much people that, you know, coming out here from Kauai is like, we don't have the poverty, the homelessness. I get shaken. I get rocked with sadness of the souls that are, you know, out here with nobody. And,
Hmm.
you know, so the gratitude of just having where I'm at and my mental state, and just think that's what keeps me, you know, grounded and grateful.
That kind of keeps you going every day. That's awesome. And
Yeah,
you have
totally.
you've definitely come a long way. And again, I mean, I
Hmm.
appreciate you sharing your story so much, because people who
Yeah,
follow your Instagram feed, think you're this happy-go-lucky guy, which you are, but they don't know
I
what led
am.
up to that. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
yeah, thank you for
yeah,
sharing. I like that. With
for sure.
anyone who may be interested in starting, a food truck or getting involved in the food business like that, what kind of advice would you give them?
So it's crazy, challenging, difficult, and it's only going to be 10 times harder if you're not mentally at peace to be able to stick it out.
Right.
So that's the advice. Before you think about building this whatever, make sure you can be at peace. You can go a day with not just trying to escape. Or, you know, because at the end of the day, it catches up with you and you snap or whatever the relationship turns into, you know, finding harmony with yourself. Everything else becomes completely doable and accomplishable, you know.
That's
So that
awesome.
would be that'd be the advice, you know. Don't think about mastering your internal feelings and then self, because everything else after that, you've already, when that starts to get really clear, and you, you already feel that you've already won. You know, I
You can
guess, you know,
overcome.
it's just,
Yeah, no, I
yeah,
mean,
you
I
can.
hear you. You definitely can overcome most challenges when you're a little more positive and you have more clarity. You know, especially with you, you know, explaining the first franchise not going so well. You took that failure and learned from it and turned it into something even more successful. You know, you brought yourself out to Vegas and worked out of that truck. So that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I do wish you well. Sad to see you go. I've been
Thank you.
wanting to follow the truck and go get some shave ice, and my kids love it. I like the recipes that I see when I watch you on social media. So I'm definitely looking to track them down one day when I'm not busy working and get go bring some my kids over there and get some shave ice. So and hopefully when
So
I ever go ahead.
you haven't been by yet? You haven't got
I have not. I've been
the drive?
trying to get there because I noticed that's when I followed you. I was like, wait a minute, he's only open for a few hours and every location is different and you have to watch.
Yeah.
I realized you have to watch the stories and I was showing my kids. I'm like, this would be a cool, you know, place for you guys to go check out. So I like the recipes that you share. So I think that's going to be our next, especially right now with the triple digits going on for the next couple of weeks. Definitely would like to have some, but yeah, I appreciate you taking time out today. I do wish you well in your future, you know, plans to go back to Kauai and start another location. That's going to be exciting. And hopefully we can see you around in Las Vegas again, and maybe you can continue to grow out here too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Vegas is, you know, the ninth island, like it's amazing. I'll definitely be back, you know.
Awesome.
That sounds exciting, being able to just do business and go from there, and you know,
and travel back and forth.
Yeah, like and it's just, you know, I'm single, I have no kids, and it's all part of my story, but it's just like it's allowed me to really just focus on me, create these kind of things, and yeah, who knows what obviously what the future holds, but I like the idea of being able to
nice. Well, and you can travel.
with
I mean, like, you know, your travel to Europe was good for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like it did a lot of good, you know, for you, for the body and the soul. So I hope you're able to continue traveling and continue with your dreams. Again, thank you so much, Thomas, for sharing your story. And we'll definitely stay in touch, and I hope to see you around.
Awesome, Donna. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care. Bye.